Here's a nice question. A block is accelerated horizontally, and we would like to know the weight of the block. The questioner has correctly identified two relevant equations, F equals ma, and the weight W equals mg, and got stuck here, rightfully wary of just combining them, right? After all, this applied force is horizontal, and the weight is a vertical force on the same object. Now, in this case, you actually can combine them, or I would recommend first use F equals ma to solve for the mass of the block, and then substitute that mass into the second formula to solve for the weight of the block. You can do that because it's the mass doesn't depend on the direction of applied forces. But all right, so that's how you would actually get your answer. If you're interested in knowing a little bit more about what's going on here, stay with me. It's always good to draw a diagram. Even a simple diagram like this can help you frame the problem. And you realize that this might make you realize that those forces are in perpendicular directions. Good to draw a free body force diagram by identifying and labeling the forces acting on the object. And usually I don't like to include that line if I don't have to. Here's the object. It seems like it's floating in space. And if you just take away that, the surface, it shows, or the line representing the surface, this might make you wonder, well, doesn't the object accelerate downward? And, well, it doesn't, because there is the surface, and you might know that, well, okay, there's going to be a normal force exerted by the surface upward on the object, and that's balancing the weight of the object, so that would also equal mg, but in the upward direction. And you might say, well, g, isn't that acceleration? Is it accelerating downward? No, it's not in free fall. That's a constant. That would be the acceleration if the object were in free fall, but we can still use this formula even if the object is not in free fall. It's still equal to the same. The weight is still equal to the same value. The weight is a force, all right, and normal force is balancing that out again. And now you might wonder, well, what about horizontal? Is there another horizontal force? Typically in these problems, there is a friction force, and you have to do a little mind reading here. If it occurs to you about friction, first of all, they don't give you any information to be able to calculate the friction force. Second of all, they give you the big hint, it's a smooth horizontal surface. Now, smooth surfaces can and really generally do have friction, exert friction, but this is it's a clue. And again, you have to read the mind a little bit. A better way of saying that that you should ignore friction is to write something for the questioner, to write something like ignore friction, where friction is negligible. Negligible. And in this case, that's obviously the intention of the person who wrote the question. And after doing some of these problems, you realize, well, that's got to be what it is. So there's no friction here. And all right, that's a little bit more background. I could keep going, but I think this may help you understand why, give you a little more context on this problem.